Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
It's really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Guys, everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Guys, because 32 years ago, I was a dumbass. But 32 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. Guys, I'm saying all that to say this. We've all had the roughest few years of our lives, right? Not just here in the U.S., all over the world. And unfortunately, we've lost a lot. I've lost a family member and a few friends to addiction. And, you know, guys, I want everyone out there to know that there's someone listening, okay? I am a nutritional health coach, and I'm also a recovery coach. I am here for you. And if you think my book can help you, please go to... You can go right to my website, www.geripetito.com. The page is there. You can order a book. You can go to Barnes & Noble, Amazon. It's everywhere, okay? Also go to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel because most of my shows are there and a lot of cool things are happening. So, guys, everyone out there that knows most of my shows, I don't get political. I've done it one other time, and now this will be the second time, and there's a reason why. I would like to, first of all, introduce my guest co-hosts. Kevin, please say hello to everyone, and I want you to tell everyone who you are first off.
Hey, everybody. My name is Kevin Dunk, and I am the campaign manager for presidential candidate Anthony Hudson, the only candidate out there who's going to put people before politics.
Thank you, Kevin. So, guys, I want to introduce two of my guests. This gentleman over here, Bucky, tell everyone your name and who you are.
Hi, I'm Brian Buckinfuso. Most of my friends throughout Mercer County and anywhere within law enforcement know me as Bucky. Retired law enforcement after 26 and a half years. December of 15, I retired from the Robbinsville Township Police Department located here in Mercer County, New Jersey. I was born and raised in Princeton, New Jersey.
And tell them what's happening real quick.
I'm back in running for Mercer County Sheriff. I ran 3 years ago. I ran a successful, let's see how the best words I can put it, a very successful campaign during a tough situation with COVID. It was brought back to me by the GOP to run again this year. So I am honored and a privilege to be serving as the candidate on the ballot and running for Mercer County Sheriff for 2023.
So I've known Bucky forever. I've been in Robbinsville Township, me and my family, for 50 years now. And, you know, he's like family to me. And, you know, we supported him last time, and we are here again to support him now. So he was the first one I ever said, absolutely, I will get involved with politics because it's Bucky. Now, guys, without further ado, this guy right here, okay? After speaking to him, I had no other choice. Anthony Hudson, please tell everyone about you.
Well, Geri, Bucky, it's nice to meet you in person. Geri, I am honored and thrilled to be here on your show.
Me too.
Finally, we've spent a lot of time talking. We spent some time on the border together.
That's right, we went to Yuma.
We went to Yuma, Arizona, where we spent several days, 4 days, assessing our issues at the southern border. So it is a absolute privilege to be here in studio with you tonight, and I want to thank you for that.
You're honoring me.
I am. Take that. It's on the record now. I'm honoring you right now.
Honoring me.
But ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, my name is Anthony Hudson, and you heard it correct. I am running for president in 2024. Back in July of this past year, in 2022, I caught myself in a heated debate with a friend of mine about politics, and that friendship was basically dissolved because of our differences in opinions. And I decided right then and there that I was going to stop complaining, and I was going to stand up and do something about it. I've decided to put my face to our country's problems. I've decided to attack this head on, and I've decided to come up with a slogan that I think should be a lifestyle in this country when we say people before politics. I think it's time that we put a blue-collar American in the White House. I do own a small trucking company in Michigan. We have been traveling this country for the better part of the last 7 months. We were down in Kentucky last year, immediately after the floods. Our current president, Mr. Joe Biden, went down for about 45 minutes. I spent 4 days helping people get supplies. We even tore up someone's home so FEMA would actually haul it away. January of this year, Kevin, my campaign manager, and I went down to Eagle Pass, Texas, where our first taste of the United States-Mexican border was stepping out of our rental car about 1 a.m. to 5 or 6 gunshots coming from the Mexican side of the river over the Rio Grande. And if you talk about blood pumping and being excited and anxiety and scared and not knowing what you're getting into, I think Kevin and I felt every one of those emotions. But because we are representing you, the American people, we stood strong, we stood proud, we did a lot of work, and now we put a lot of effort into a border policy that will secure our southern border, protect our national security, and make sure that each and every one of you are safe in this country. Donald Trump wants to preach, make America great again. Before you do that, we have to make America safe again. And we have to put our time, money, and efforts back into the American people and make you a priority. And that is the focus of my campaign for 2024.
So I want to say a couple things, and then we're going to give the mic to Bucky, because I'm from Mercer County, and we're here to promote Bucky, and Bucky's here to promote him. And Anthony and Bucky are two incredibly upright gentlemen. I know them both personally. I spent a few days with this guy right here at the borders with Kevin and with Ruben from here, Iron Horse Films, Hamilton Radio. Okay, we went and spent a few days with them, and I'm going to tell you something right now. What we experienced, I couldn't believe myself firsthand, okay? So everybody out there that wants to talk and, complain about what's going on in this country, in this state, in this county, I'm going to ask you to stop unless you're willing to stand up and do something. Because we did, he's willing, and so is Bucky. So how about that? And I'm not trying to say anything mean here, but you don't know how much crap we all hear from everyone about what they can't stand that's going on. Do something about it, guys. You have an opportunity here. Okay? So before we get back to you, Anthony, Bucky, talk a little bit about what you're planning on doing for Mercer County.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Anthony. As I stated, during my first run as for sheriff back in 2020, it was a tough uphill battle with COVID going on, and unfortunately not being able to go visit door to door, talk to the residents, get myself out into public more because public gatherings were still very tough for people to do. So it's important for me this year to be out in the public, going door to door, knocking on doors, meeting people so they can put my face to the name of those that don't know me. As I stated, I grew up in Princeton, born and raised there. I started my law enforcement career there in Princeton, where my father also was on the job there for 25 years. He retired as a lieutenant. I left there and went out to what used to be Washington Township, is now Robbinsville Township Police Department. Served 25 years there. I retired. I was a detective when I retired from there. Giving back to the community, providing service, being there for residents, being there for people that need you in a time of need. When most people are vulnerable, they don't expect police to be their savior, but they do call on us to be there to help them. So throughout Mercer County, my biggest concern is the Sheriff's Department needs to be more visible, more involved with our communities. There's 13 communities within Mercer County, so it's imperative that the Sheriff's Department is not just structured in working in the city of Trenton or at the courthouses here in Mercer County, as our Sheriff's Department is a majority of their assignments are. They do supplement some of the agencies throughout the county, like Cure Arena or the Trenton Waterfront Park where the Trenton baseball stadium is. But there's other areas that they could be involved in. And going back to 2020, during COVID, when law enforcement officers were also being affected with COVID and being out of work due to being sick or taking care of their family members. Other police departments were lacking their full service of having officers on the road to serve the communities, and the Sheriff's Departments were shut down because our courts were shut down, and they weren't out there supplementing the communities where they could have been helping out those officers and those departments and those communities in need. So the Sheriff's Department needs to be more involved within our county as opposed to, like I say, just being involved in the city of Trenton or in the courts. So it's imperative on me to have our officers, when I'm elected, to be out on the road, more visible, to supplement the other law enforcement agencies, to help other communities. As Anthony and you have mentioned and you have seen down at the border, we have a larger problem now with drugs than we did just with heroin a few years ago. Now we're dealing with fentanyl. Fentanyl is affecting every community. It's not just down in the South. It's not just in the West. It's not in New York City. It's not just in Philadelphia. It's not just in California. It's here in New Jersey. I've worked close with another group that was involved with dealing with a lot of families that lost loved ones to overdoses and drug addictions. And they're being affected by the fentanyl more so now, also here in our county and in Trenton. So, again, being involved with the drugs and making sure the drugs aren't on our streets, taking care of the kids, being there for the kids, the youth in our community growing up that should not be affected by what's going on at our borders or anywhere. That's another big concern of mine is definitely with the fentanyl addiction and what's going on with the drugs coming across the borders, our open border, and coming into our communities here locally, prominent communities, not just the inner cities.
Right.
Yes.
Well, Bucky, that was beautifully said. Thank you for that. And again, I want to thank you for running again. I am so happy that you're doing it.
Well, I can't thank you enough for your support 3 years ago. And again, reaching out to me to have me here tonight to meet Anthony, support what he's going for and what he's trying to do to make our country better. Again, we need a safer country before anything else. And that is most important is our safety amongst our residents that live here, that give back to our communities and take care of our communities and provide for our communities and our families.
Thank you, Bucky. I love you, man.
Thank you.
So now, do you have any questions for Anthony about what he's doing?
I don't at the moment, because Anthony and I did have a open talk when I first got here, and I do understand where he's coming from, and it's from the ground roots of what's important here. And going down to the border.
What would you like him to touch base on? Some things you were talking about.
About the fentanyl. You could talk about the fentanyl and what you saw at the border when you were there. And you saw that it's open and what's going on and what our border control is dealing with. And again, law enforcement, sheriff's departments down there are more involved than we would be here as to what they're doing on the front lines of trying to help our country and be safe and keeping the residents safe that are in those communities that are affected by this.
You're absolutely right. And one thing that we have promised the American people all across this country is that we are very much devoted to making sure that our law enforcement has the resources that they need to tackle this issue. Being down on the border for 9 days, talking to locals, talking to several sheriffs, chief of police, lieutenants, border patrol, the mayor of San Luis, Arizona, if she's listening, hello. Yep. We have learned, and I firmly believe that every community in this country is now a border city. I firmly believe this. They may come in from thousands of miles away, but they end up here, right here in New Jersey. Sure. They end up across into the city of New York because they can get lost there and we'll never find them. But what we need to do is we need to stand behind our law enforcement as a nation. 100%. As much as we back our military, we need to back our law enforcement and make sure that you have the equipment and resources to either start a division or a program that would have specific officers just targeting the drugs and the gangs and the violence so that other good officers can handle the streets, traffic citations, domestic violence, things like that. And I want to let you know that, it's my pleasure to meet you tonight. And you have the full support from my campaign staff, and we will do whatever we can to promote you on social media.
I appreciate that.
If we can get back here and do a rally with you in front of your people,
Would love it.
I would love to come here and talk to New Jerseyans. Is that what you call them, New Jerseyans?
Listen,
What do
New
you call 'em?
Jerseyans, man. Listen,
I'm making
yes.
up a word.
Do
Is
it,
New
baby.
Jerseyans?
Do it. We got to do this,
I'm creating my
buddy.
own. I'm from Michigan. We're Michiganders. I don't think you're New Jersey-ganders or anything like that. So,
we're Jerseyans.
but I would love to personally back you and support you. I think you're a great fit for the position that you're running for, and I think this county would be better off with you at the helm. So anything that we can do, please reach out to us and let us know. All right?
Heck yeah, baby.
Thank you very much.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate the support,
Yes, sir.
especially for our law enforcement,
Yes.
because, as you know, it's been a tough few years.
Yep.
And it's important for law enforcement to be respected, for people to trust us, to know that we're here to help. We're not here to be the ones that are harming people or doing things that aren't supposed to be done. When you call 911 or you get stopped on a motor vehicle stop or get involved in a crash or, like you say, a domestic or anything else that comes, to where law enforcement has to get involved, we're the front line that you're going to deal with on a local level.
Right.
And it should be someone who's respectful, comes to you, caring, compassionate, provides what you need, and try to help you out as best we can under the circumstances. And just to touch on a drug issue that we had in our community where I worked in Robbinsville, we took the initiative to change things around a little bit. Instead of just you being involved in drugs and putting you in jails
Yes.
and coming back out and still having your drug addiction, they put a program together called the CARE program and basically got you aid and help for your drug addiction
That's right.
before dealing with your charges, to try to get you clean to recovery, to
Good.
get you out of the situation you're in, which was a bad situation, a bad world that unfortunately you got addicted to and you got involved in. But it wasn't just a court criminal system. It was a care system
That's
in
right.
which you took
Right.
compassion towards somebody who unfortunately is under the influence of an addiction that they couldn't get themselves help from. Their friends aren't going to help them.
We did a whole interview with everyone involved with the CARE program. It was
Yep.
amazing.
Yeah,
And
so
what
that's
they're
very
doing in
important.
Robbinsville is unreal.
Yeah.
I want to share something. I don't even know if you know this, Bucky, but about an officer. An officer saved my life. Okay? Back in the day, I had beauty salons, and I was a mess. Okay? And I had a black and gold Eldorado Cadillac with Elvis license plates. So I always laugh and say, between God and that officer and Elvis, they saved my life. Because I was copping dope at 2 o'clock in the morning in Trenton with a friend, and the officer recognized my license plates because one of my customers, a good friend to this day, was the municipal court judge boss. Okay? And he called her. And he came to my window and he said, Jerry, Judge so-and-so said, get this guy out of your car, go get some help. And that was the night I stopped everything. I threw him out, threw the drugs out, and I said, I'm done. An officer saved my life, and so did Elvis right there, right?
There's one thing I would like to see on every cop car, sheriff car, state trooper car, anyone in law enforcement. When I was a kid growing up in Texas, every state trooper, every local sheriff, every police officer had the words protect and serve on the
love
back
it.
of their squad
Absolutely.
cars.
Absolutely.
And I would like to see that implemented, even if it started right here
Yeah.
in your county once you're elected. We need the people to understand that that is a motto that has always been around for law enforcement. They are not here to hurt you. They are here to protect and serve you when you need them. If you don't need them, that's great. But when you do, they're the ones that are going to put their life on the line to come and help you and save you and get you out of a bad situation. That's where their heart and soul is. And for all of those officers that are above, above average and better, my hat's off to them all day, every day, and I salute them just like I would anyone in the military. So let me know if that's even something you could do as sheriff, is put that emblem back on the squad cars
It
for
can be
people
done,
to recognize.
trust me, it can be done, and it should be done, because like you say, it is a motto that we take as part of our oath to protect and serve the public, the residents, the people that you're working for in the community that you're working for. And you know, nobody should be above the law. You wear the badge with honor and pride. I always wore my uniform with pride and honor. When I represent my department to somebody in need, again, like I say, it may not be the best time in their life that they're having contact with you, but you want it to be a positive outcome.
Yes. Right.
And then to come back and say, listen, I may have been in a bad spot. It wasn't nice, you know, I wasn't happy with the outcome of what happened there, but you, prime example,
Yep.
saved my life.
Yep.
You got me on the right path. I may not have been in the right place, but now I am, because of who was there and what they did for me.
I want to ask you one question before you go. When we were kids, and one of my uncles, he was one of the top 5 officers in the state of Texas that started this program. Do you remember the DARE program?
Absolutely, I remember
Yes.
the DARE program.
Why did, one, I want to know why it went away, and 2, how can we get it back into our schools so that we can educate people at a younger age, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, so that they understand the consequences. And the reason I bring up the word consequences is because my campaign staff, we promote this all over the country, and I want you to use it too, because I know you'll see fit here. Be the Rock, RAC, responsibility, accountability, and consequences.
I love it.
Make sure that you know who's responsible for educating these children on drugs and what could happen. Hold them accountable for their actions and educate them to what the consequences would be if they go down that long, dark road. If you guys can do that, and we could get federal funding to bring DARE back to our schools, and for those of you who don't know what DARE is, it's Drug Abuse Resistance Education. My uncle was one of the first 5 officers in the great state of Texas to start that program, worked his way up to a high school classroom and a college classroom at Navarro College, and he did that. They even gave him a Harley to ride around in. It was all decked out with the black and red. But this is a program that had positive numbers back in the late 80s, early 90s, and more so now than ever, we need to educate our young people about the consequences of drug use, especially with fentanyl coming in, killing so many children. And, you know, this is just a personal note. I watched the video clip when the mother was begging to Joe Biden you know, to get some sort of assistance when her 2 sons died in 2020 over fentanyl. And he chuckled and laughed about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if I was your president, I would have walked down and hugged that woman and told her we will get her whatever assistance or help that she needs to move on from such a tragic event. This is not a game. This is a very serious situation in this country, and I think that we need to attack it by the throat and not let up until we have the problem solved.
I want to interrupt a second. I wasn't going to read this at all. I'm going to read a small, tiny poem. I didn't realize we were going to be talking so much about the drugs, which I'm happy we are. I want to read a small poem out of my book, guys, because, again, I've even experienced, unfortunately, some close deaths to me over the last 2 years, and one very recent. It's called Put Down the Gun. And the gun can be anything that you're using to kill yourself with, right? It could be your drug. It could be whatever's happening. Put down the gun. I had to have this purple gun just in case my life was done. I kept it safe, locked in my room, because I was filled with gloom and doom. Yes, there were times that I just knew if I loaded it up what I could do, but I kept on hearing that gentle voice. Put down that gun. You have that choice. Life may seem hard at the end of the day, but that's when you need to really pray. Dear Father, I beg you to show me the truth. How can life be so bad when I'm only a youth? Get rid of that gun and go take a shower. Ask someone for help. You do have that power. Ask someone for help.
I like that.
Absolutely.
You know,
Someone for help.
and Anthony will tell you, I like, you know, looking at numbers. I crunch a lot of numbers. I pay a lot of attention to you know, we're just talking about the border, to a lot of stuff at the border, you know. And I just want to give you a few figures as far as what was seized last year and where we're at today. Last year, since 2020, there's been a 206% increase in fentanyl. Last year on our
Uh-oh, the basement
Lost
got
the
him.
feed. Lost the
Wait,
feed.
we lost him.
The basement got him. That Arkansas internet.
All right, until
He'll
he
be
comes back. And
I know what he's going to talk about. I don't
Go
know the
ahead.
exact numbers, but
Right, he knows them.
it's very shocking
Yes.
to hear the numbers.
seized there.
Okay,
There
wait.
we are.
Oh, there you are.
We
You're going
lost
to have
you
to
a
say
second.
that again, Kevin, because you
Okay.
blocked out on us
Lost
there
your
for a
feed.
second.
Okay. Well, last year there was a 206% increase from 2020 of fentanyl seized. There was 15,000 pounds seized at our southern border. Last week alone, Monday through Thursday, at one port of entry at Nogales, there was 656,530 fentanyl pills seized at that one port of entry last week alone, along with 157 pounds of crystal meth. Now, that's just one port of entry. There's 1,954 miles of our southern border. That's from the Pacific Ocean over to the Gulf. So you imagine how much is actually getting through the system versus what's getting caught at our ports. You know, because the port of entries are going to be at your cities. Well, you got big gaps in between the cities that the smugglers use. I just wanted to throw those numbers out
Thank
there for
you.
people so they
All the drug running that's going on.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, and they have a very good smoke and mirrors tactic that they use at the border where in Yuma, you can go online anywhere, anytime, and watch what happens in Yuma. We've got plenty of video from
Our producer says he's ready. If you
Okay.
want to see a
yeah,
little
if
bit.
you want to show it, go ahead and show
Okay,
that.
Ruben.
But these illegal immigrants, they'll come in anywhere from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. and they'll come in 100 at a time, 150
It
at
was
a
crazy,
time.
Bucky.
And you know, when they have that many people come through, the Border Patrol is pulling agents from both, you know, west and east to come address that situation. And right there in Yuma, it borders an Indian reservation, the indigenous
Two groups
tribe.
of 13
And
on the
indigenous
smaller buses
chief
and vans.
did not
and
want
then
the
put
border wall on the reservation land. So you have 8 miles where there is no wall.
Unsecured property.
So we're guarding one portion of the wall where these folks are just walking around the wall and into the country. And when you get all your Border Patrol into that one concentrated area, that's when you have your smugglers crossing through the reservation in the middle of the night because there's no one out there watching them.
No, it can't
So
be everywhere.
I told a representative of the reservation there. I said, "Listen, what's the problem? What's wrong with the wall?" He goes, "Oh, well, the wall prevents animals from migrating back across the border." So we're talking about animals. Okay, so here's what I'll do. And he goes, "Well, we want money too. We want to be paid and compensated to have the wall." And I said, "Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. As President of the United States, I'll build the wall around your reservation, and you can use your resources and your tribal police to manage that eight-mile section with your resources. And when that doesn't work out for you, you're going to beg me to put that wall on your land." He goes, "We probably would, but right now we don't have the resources." And I said, "We can't allow this to continue to happen coming across your land. We can't."
So, producer, I have a question. I see that you're showing the footage, which is great, but they could still hear us talking, I hope? Okay, cool. So he's showing.
The
and
footage
can
you
talk
took when you were
after
there.
this.
Yeah, this is a little footage right here, Bucky, that you can see, like back here at the end of the video, the wall literally just stops, probably about 25 yards from where these folks are standing right now, and they literally walk around and they stay. You see the rope right
There
there.
it is. Yep,
You see
I
where
see
the
it.
wall
All
stops.
black. Just the white spot.
And look how dark it is.
Yeah,
So
can't see nothing.
there's probably about 25 people back here at the back, because what they do is they take a number of like 54 or 45, I can't remember. It's one of the two. That's all they can fit on a big white bus. So they keep them up here between the rope and the fence. They have them remove their shoestrings. They have them remove their personal items and put it all in a plastic bag. They take their picture. They check their paperwork. They put them on a bus. They take them to an NGO camp, a non-government organization camp. And there they will spend up to 72 hours being questioned, getting a medical background clearance done. If they have loved ones in the United States, that's where they start. The NGO will start reaching out to the family, and they'll send them there. If they don't have family, they ask them, where do you want to go?
Right.
It's that simple. Where do you want to go?
It's that
I want to
simple.
go to Chicago. Okay, so we're going to send you to Chicago.
This
They
is just
put
crazy.
you on. They put you on the bus with your belongings. They give you vouchers for food. They give you some cash, and they send you on your way. But there's no law that says you have to end up in Chicago.
That's right.
If the bus stops in Phoenix from Yuma, that's a 3-hour drive. If it stops in Phoenix to refuel, these people can get off the bus and they leave their government Obama phones behind, and we lose them.
You don't know where they are.
We don't know where they are. But my staff has come together to put forth a policy where we could monitor, and I want to use the word monitor carefully because when you use the word tracking, it violates a lot of freedom rights in this country, right? But let's all be honest, okay? There's no coddling here, and I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. These people come into our country illegally, even at the age of 7, okay? I witnessed a 7-year-old. If our producers could find the pictures of the young girl,
Let me say something first. I'm going to say something and then you finish, Aunt. I'm not trying to interrupt you. But that was the worst for me as a mom and as a grandmother. We witnessed 3 children. She was 7 years old. And she said,
And here they come down the street now.
Her father was somewhere in the U.S. I'm hugging her. He's hugging her, telling her she's going to be okay. And you're right. They came in illegally. Now you can finish. We witnessed this, guys.
yes,
Wait a minute. I want to get clarification on it. She was 7 years old by herself coming
Well,
across.
she was
not
with
she was
3 other
she
boys.
was
Without
7
family.
without
No, they didn't
family.
even know each
Her
other, they
her
said.
mother
Okay.
mother abandoned her
My granddaughter's
in the
7.
Mexican desert. Okay,
Okay.
so along her travels, she met up with 3 boys that were anywhere from the age of 14 to 16 years old, and they kind of banded together.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I don't know, Jerry, if you can make this bigger.
No, the screen is, no. The
Okay.
screen is watched.
But they're walking up to us right here.
Okay.
They met each other along their travel.
Right.
They came across to us. The little girl was scared to death. One of the boys looked like a bunch of stuff in his pockets.
Yep.
And I asked the lieutenant that was with us, I said, make him take his hands out of his pockets. Now, the reason I did that, folks, is that, yes, I'm going to be sympathetic to the fact that these are children. Okay?
Sure.
They are they're committing their first crime in the United States right now, as you see right here.
across the border.
They're coming across a dried up Colorado River. They're not coming through a port of entry, and I need to make sure that I'm safe.
Sure.
Okay? Second of all, there's a humanitarian effort here that because I am a man, I'm a strong American man, it does not mean that I don't have feelings or care about the human race, because I do. This little girl right here,
See her? Yeah.
she is going to either get a sponsor in this country to raise her, or she's going to be put into the adoption system. And we all know how bad the adoption system currently is. I don't think that's a good situation for this girl. What's the option? You know, a lot of people scream, stay in Mexico until your asylum is approved.
Right.
You know, and then you can attend your court date
But with
here.
who's she going to stay
Who's
with?
she going to stay with? If she stays in Mexico, she's going to be a victim of the cartel.
That's right. And
sex
raped every
trafficking
day.
and everything
Sex
else that's going on.
trafficking,
Absolutely.
child trafficking.
That's
She may become a smuggler because the cartel says you're going to do this, or you're not going to be living anymore.
Absolutely.
They're very, very hateful. It's a very hateful organization. These young men, I don't know if they're smuggling anything currently as it is. They didn't want to talk about their story or their travels to us.
Sure they
So,
didn't.
so I said to the sheriff, we loved him. He was amazing. And I said to the sheriff, I said, being, a recovery coach and all that, and a mother, I said, can I check his pockets? And he
Right.
said, yes. And I said, what will happen if I find drugs on him here? Will it end here?
Right.
Absolutely not. Then we have to send him to, I said, then I'm not doing it to the child twice.
Gotcha.
It was a child.
Yeah.
And you know what, Buck? It changed me forever. I went to Russia in the 80s, had guns pointed at me at the wall. I got rocks from that wall. I got rocks from the China Wall in the
Right.
80s. That did nothing compared to what this trip did.
Okay.
These
Of course
little
it's not.
children, Buck.
Right.
And so, Anthony, let's talk a little bit about solid plans that you've already established that you are planning on doing if you are elected to help the United States of America?
Well, long story short, the first thing I feel that we need to do, and there are people out there that say that the wall is a joke. The wall may be a joke right now because there are gaps within the wall that do not allow the wall to work. The wall is not supposed to keep immigrants completely out of this country. It's supposed to be a deterrent. It's supposed to be something that slows them down so that we can send our Border Patrol to a remote area where they're currently trying to cross so that we can apprehend them as soon as they come into this country. I believe that the wall will do the job. I want to go and add heat sensing cameras. I would like to put military drones in the air along our wall. They will spy out at about 200, 250 miles. And by doing this, we have a wall with no gaps. We have eyes in the skies. And we have people that can relay intel to our boots on the ground. Okay, we got about 200 people approaching the wall at this mile marker, at this location, blah, 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 whatever. We can send the appropriate amount of people to that one location, knowing that we still have eyes in the dark down the road to see if they're trying to send smugglers over the wall at that particular point. I believe that we need to keep the stay in Mexico policy. It protects us. It protects these children from coming over here and being criminals to start their American life. It allows us to give these asylum court dates and then allow these people to come right over into their asylum city and attend their court date. And if they're deemed not available to claim asylum, we can deport them and send them right back where they've come from. If they are granted their asylum, then we can continue with the process to take them wherever it is that they need to go. But we are going to put a citizen's bond on every immigrant that comes into this country. And a citizen's bond would cost them about $150 a month. And they would pay this every single month while they are going through the legal immigration system. We don't need more immigration laws, people. We don't. We need to enforce the ones that we have. That's where we should start. When they get a citizen's bond, that gives them protection, like asylum would do, to allow them to set up shop, get their housing situated, get a job, start making money, and they are to pay this citizen's bond every single month, $150. And the way the breakdown of these funds goes is $25 would go to the city of the immigrant who's residing there, who's taking up residence there. $25 per immigrant for that city. $12.50 of that $150 will go to the county. $12.50 will go to the state. That eats up $50. The other remaining $100 will go directly towards our country's deficit. I need you to understand that. 3 million immigrants currently to date at $100 a month apiece, 12 months out of the year. You guys can do the math and tell me that will actually help bring down our deficit over my 8 years in office, should I get 8 full years. We want to allow these immigrants the opportunity to come in this country and become legal immigrants. This country was founded on immigration.
My grandparents.
Right.
So we
want it.
Even the Native Americans came through the straits when they came to this land, Panama and all that. So we've all immigrated to this country. We cannot close the border, but we can be more protective of our national security, and we can put forth policies that are A, humane, and B, easily achievable by these illegal immigrants as they come in after they're granted their temporary asylum in this country. This is a way for us to make money off of immigration. We also, and I'm going to say this very clear to every one of you in this country, the cartel are very present along our southern border.
That's right.
And when I become president of the United States, we will have an organization that will push them and drive them out of this country. They are not here legally. They are pushing slavery. Yep. They are pushing drugs.
Rape.
rape,
trafficking.
sex trafficking.
They
You got
have-
it.
they
You
have-
guys all know the story. The drugs are killing American citizens,
They
and
have
in my
sex
opinion,
trees.
that is a direct attack on American people. These
Right
drugs
there
are
at the same
coming in
spot.
from
He
where?
just turned his lights out.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
know.
you know who they are,
Right?
what they're doing, and
We need the
give it
cartel to go
half
back
hour,
to Mexico,
maybe
or
less.
we can wipe
You'll
them
see the headlights on
as an organization.
Yeah, I got 'em now.
We have to do
Yeah, just
something
keep point
to
your camera
protect
over there.
our
You'll
border.
watch that car drive, turn his lights
Being a
on.
president right now today, Joe Biden says we don't have an issue.
They'll be here.
We are here.
Can
Just
we
a few
can we
minutes,
say
guarantee
it? Can we honestly say it? He's allowing them to come in so he can get votes in the next election.
Of course, without a doubt.
It's fair to say.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to touch on something Anthony touched on about that young little girl, if she's fortunate enough to be adopted by a family. I was fortunate enough because I'm adopted. So that resonates with me in my upbringing.
Well, I want you to
So-
understand that if you go to our website, which everyone should know is AnthonyHudson2K24.com, we have a policies page, and we update it often. And there is a spot there where I want to reform completely, tear it down completely, our adoption system. We have too many bad hosts that are assaulting, sexually assaulting, neglecting these children, or making it such a harsh environment that these children are leaving the home and getting out on the streets. And once they get on the streets, where do they turn? To the gangs.
Right. And the drugs.
To the drugs. You know?
Exactly.
So
Heartbreaking.
if
Absolutely.
we are going to do something like reform, our adoption system, we do need to tear it down and start over. And that's something that I offer each and every one of you as Americans in this country. Let me get this out of my face. This is not my campaign. This is your campaign. I am one of you. I live the same life you do. I struggle just like you do. I pay the same prices for gas, the same prices for groceries, just like you do. I am not a lifetime corrupt politician that is getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier by the minute. I have an idea to take our government, shrink it down a little bit, because I believe smaller government brings big rewards. And I want to give this country back to you, the American people, where it belongs. I've told a lot of people this over the last few months, that in the late 80s, Ronald Reagan was famous for a quote that said, "We, the American people, are the driver, the government is the car." We tell them where to go, what route to take, and how fast to go to get there. We, the people, are free. Do you feel free right now?
No,
I don't.
No, not whatsoever.
not
Do
at
you-
all.
Do you believe in your Constitution?
So I actually protested in Trenton with Ruben for our Constitution. And I introduced you to that gentleman that came from another state to be with us. So I believe in it. Listen, guys, get off your butts and do something about everything you're complaining about. Okay? If we can, you can. Because I believe in the Constitution. And unfortunately, it's not being upheld.
I stood there. I had the privilege to be in Washington, D.C. with my eighth grade son. He's 14 years old. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we went to the Archives building and went up to one of the most protected rooms in the world.
Okay?
$1 billion worth of protection. Billion. The casings that the Constitution sit in, the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of
Amazing.
Independence, could withstand a nuclear bomb. I stood there and I read one sentence of the Constitution, and that's all I needed to read.
Did you cry?
I no, because my 14-year-old son was there, and I was a chaperone with his guy friends,
okay.
and I gotta stand tall. But I
right.
tell you what, when I saw it in person, we the people, I saw enough. That's how government works. They work for us. I'm willing to take on the job to give you back your country, to give you back your freedom, to give you back your liberties, and make sure that we are the rock in Washington. And I can't do it without your support. So if it takes coming to New Jersey and getting on this great show of yours,
That's right, baby.
we will do it as much as we need to do. When it comes time for me to go door to door in New Jersey, after this young man over here gets elected to be your sheriff,
Heck yeah.
I guarantee you he will walk side by side with me to your homes to meet you and hand you a card or a flyer or a palm reader. But most importantly, we will hand you the truth. I have nothing to hide.
Guys, you've heard it right here on the Geri Petito Show. You got that? That's right. Bucky for Mercer County Sheriff, baby, and it's going to happen this time. It's going to happen this time. And this guy right here, Anthony Hudson for president, okay? So, Kev, we still have a little bit of time. We still have a little bit of time. I don't want you just sitting there hanging out, okay? I want you to talk a little. Now, I want you to talk a little bit about what is happening with your campaign with this guy. Let everybody out there know what they need to know, Kev.
Well, you know, back in January, me and Anthony got the opportunity to finally meet. You know, after working months on this campaign, we finally got the opportunity to meet. And we spent 3 days down at Eagle Pass, Texas, down at the border down there. And the whole time that we were down there, we were working. We were out there till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then we were right back up out there by 6:30, you know, before sunrise. And, I mean, the only thing we did in our motel room was basically take a shower and a nap. And then we went back to Yuma, Arizona, February, and we sat in a congressional council meeting. We met with all the locals there. And we've come to a realization of a lot of work needs to be done. You know, like Anthony was saying, increasing Border Patrol agents and everything else that he wants to do. But we also left there. When we left Eagle Pass, we stopped at Uvalde, where the school shooting occurred. Now, Jerry, I spent a lot of time with Anthony in these cars, in the motels, on our borders. And the whole time we're constantly talking with each other. We're saying we need to do this, we need to do that. For 45 minutes, we're standing in front of this memorial where this happened at Uvalde. We could not speak. We couldn't speak a word. Mm. And Anthony was trying to do a commemorative video and be able to read the 2 teachers and all the students that lost their lives that day. It took him 5 times to do that one video. After we left there, we got in the car and we were still quiet. You know, we really didn't talk with each other. But since then, we've come up with a policy that we want to enact on to help secure our schools. We got to protect our kids whenever they are at school. It's on Anthony's website. It's bulletproof glass, dual entry doorway, security. But I can say this about Anthony. He's not the type of candidate that's going to, or presidential candidate that's going to govern behind the desk. He's a boots on the ground guy. As he was talking about whenever he went to Kentucky and helped out up there, we spent 9 days at our southern border learning what's going on down there and how we can better everything. He lives the lives that we all do. He understands what it's like to go put gas in your vehicle, to go to the grocery store and buy the $5 per dozen eggs. He understands the hardships financially. He lives the realization that we all do. Therefore, he's a much better candidate to help be able to fix the financial burdens of the majority of the people in this country. The career politicians, they sit behind the desk. They don't understand what the majority of the people in this country go through. The celebrities that are running, they don't know. The mega millions and the billionaires, they don't understand what the blue-collar society and the middle-class Americans and lower-class Americans go through on a daily or weekly basis. And another thing that I've been telling a lot of people, I see all the division within our government. You see the Democrats, the Republicans, the Constitutionalists, the Conservatives, the Federalists, all of them. None of them can ever come to an agreement on anything. There's so much division within our government.
Yes.
They point their fingers, they're name blaming, and they're trying to make the other one look bad constantly. And we've witnessed several of times. And then it trickles down through the mainstream media throughout the news outlets. And a lot of I'm not trying to sound mean here, but a lot of the older generations are not on social media. Mm-hmm. They are counting on the news outlets to provide them with some sort of truth, which we've learned also that there's not a whole lot of truth in what the mainstream media portrays. Mm-hmm. But, you know, with all the division and everything that's going on in our government, my philosophy is, if you're going to vote for a politician that's running or a celebrity that is affiliated with a particular party, then you're not going to have the resolution that we all need and that we deserve whenever we do vote. If you vote for a blue-collar person or a politician or someone who's running for a presidential candidate that is not affiliated with any particular party, nope, or they're not a politician, you're going to have greater chances of what the people need and what they deserve. And Anthony fits the description perfect. You know, I've got to know him on a personal level, and I feel blessed for that, because he is as genuine as you and I, or you walk up to anybody and speak with. And that's one thing I can say about Anthony, is he wants to acknowledge everyone. He wants to be able to shake everybody's hand. He wants to talk to them. And one thing that we've talked about is, if he's elected, is actually having a cabinet set up to where if someone has a concern, or if they want to come up with an idea or anything like that, they can make a phone call or send an email and actually get notification back, get acknowledged back. And not one of the robocalls or one of the robo emails, but actually get to speak with someone that can relay the messages to and from his personal cabinet to work on the issues that everybody's, you know, that they're wanting done.
And you know how we do that, Jerry?
Thank you, Kev. That was beautifully said.
It was very beautifully said.
Amazing.
Kevin is a very humble guy. He's giving me more credit than I deserve, I think. But I think a lot of people are going to say, well, how do we find the people to do these jobs? You know, I tell you what, when I get rid of the IRS,
yes,
and reassign those agents to our borders, or reassign them to other federal programs,
yes,
we will have plenty of manpower.
Yes.
We need the states to stand up and do the job that the IRS has been doing. They're capable. They have the ability to do it. The IRS in this country needs to let go of the blue-collar, middle-class America. Leave us alone.
Leave us alone.
We have a policy also for the American people that I'm proud of. I came up with this one on my own.
Oh, let's hear.
I came up with this one on my own. For all of you that work overtime in this country or get bonus checks throughout the year for your performance, your bonus checks and your overtime hours, I will make tax exempt to you so that you can take home your money that you spend hours upon hours away from your family and your home and your children. To what? To make a little extra money to put gas in your truck, or to pay your electric bill, or
and
your,
gas
or your
will come down, right?
Well, when we issue more leases out there so that we can get back to fracking and using that liquid gold that we live on.
That's right.
Once we get a nice little surplus of our own oil and we refill our reserve, then I think our gas prices could come way down and we can start selling to other countries that need that and keeping them away from the Russian pipeline or the Russian oil, and we can turn a profit over the resources we have here. I'm very firm on the idea that in 1776 the United States won their independence, and none of us are independent today. I
feel the same way, and I'm going to say something. I don't know about everybody out there what you're feeling or thinking, okay? And I don't care if I say my age. I'm 62 years old, and I'm saying that for a reason. My father is rolling over in his grave, coming here as an immigrant, right, Buck? And working, the hardest working family in Robbinsville, the Petitos, right? And let me tell you something. What's happening now, we are not free. No. What's happening now is horrendous to me. So this guy right here, well, first of all, this guy right here, he has listen, risked his life every day on the job, okay, as an officer in Robbinsville, right? He was an officer. So this guy right here risked his life every single day on his job. We need to get him in as sheriff of Mercer County. Got that, guys? And this guy right here,
Thank you, Joe.
he is a truck driver, okay? He's a blue-collar guy. I mean, the thing about you, Anthony, is this. Listen, the first time I spoke to you, you know, I thought, I have to make sure we're on the same page, right? Because, again,
That's right.
I don't really interview politicians, but this is totally different. We were not only on the same page, you're a regular guy. You weren't talking politics and all this craziness. You were talking the way I needed you to talk, the way the average person needs to be talked to. So, guys, I'm just putting it out there. Listen, you know, we need to change things here, right? Because everyone that I talk to complains about the politicians. They complain about Washington. They complain about everything that's going on, how broken our system is, right? That's because we don't have a regular guy like us that knows what's needed, okay? So this guy right here, Anthony Hudson, please, I'm begging you, vote for him. And vote for this guy right here, Bucky.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
I don't get speechless often, but I'm kind of speechless now. You and Kevin, Bucky, you guys have all been
But it's the truth,
amazing
man.
saying some of these comments. It's hard to stay humbled, but you know what? At the end of the day, and I will say this from now until the last bell rings on election night, which I believe should be one night, not a week. I think that you know, it's going to be easy for me to stay true the course because I'm not a politician.
That's right.
I'm not corrupt.
That's right.
I've already turned down money from the Republicans.
That's right.
All right? I'm running nonpartisan.
I love it.
Nonpartisan brings it brings compromise back to the table, right? And if government, if those in Senate and the House, they don't want to work with me and I'm elected president, guess what? We're going to make them pull 40 hours a week. We're going to make them earn that $174,000 a year that they make because right now they don't work a fraction of what we work. We're going to hold them accountable. There's that word again. Accountable.
They don't work 2,080 hours a year.
They don't.
I guarantee you that.
So we're going to put them at the table and we're going to lock the doors and we're not leaving until we get a compromise.
Yeah.
And if I had my way, ladies and gentlemen, we would have no more party lines.
I agree.
I think it was written long ago. George Washington said himself, parties will divide this
Oh my
country.
gosh, I love this.
Yeah, we're divided right now.
And we are
divided.
We are so
we-
divided.
we
We
are
are divided.
We are more divided now than we've ever been.
Yeah.
And I just walked into a Democratic state with a lot of Democrats who support my campaign
That's
because the truth is real. The truth is valuable. The truth is that you need to maintain your level of freedom in this country. No one in this country should have the right to tell you when and where you can go, what you can do, what you can't do. Now, we have laws. We have rules that we have to live by. And there are consequences if we break those laws. And that's what these guys are here to do, to enforce those rules. But if you can just get all the crap out of your head and start opening up to some common sense, you can live as a free man, woman, or child in this country, and you can have an amazing life. But the more you complain and the more you get white knuckles in your fist and get mad and upset and do nothing about it, you will never have true change. And if I could look every one of you in the eye, I would tell you this face to face. If you want to stop complaining, if you want to stop being taken advantage of, if you want to see a true change in this country for your children and your grandchildren, then join me as we step up to the plate in the bottom of the ninth with two outs, and we jerk one out of the park and take this country by surprise.
Yes.
We do it together.
Yes.
It's not my campaign. It's not my staff. It's your country, and it's your government. So join me. Let's make history together, and let's show the people in the mainstream media who refuse to cover me because they're intimidated by me, or those who wear the fancy suits in Washington, that there is a better way so that we can all live with peace and security in this country. but I can't do it without you.
So, all right, guys, we're coming to the close of the show. You're both going to get something, a minute to say a couple more things as well. And I'm glad you hung out with us, Buck. So, Kevin, first of all, I want to thank you for helping me out here today and being part of this show. My throat's better, but thank you for, doing what you're doing as well. It was great meeting you and hanging out with you. I want you to take a minute and tell everyone out there a few last words from you.
Well, I want to thank you, Jerry, for giving me the opportunity to sit in with you guys tonight. Only thing I can tell everybody out there is, if you want change, the change is sitting right here, sitting beside Jerry. He's a very representative person. He's very open. He's very honest. And if you want to join our campaign, if you want to help our campaign out, go to his website and sign up to join the campaign. If you have any questions or comments, my personal email address is on there, as well as a few other representatives. Feel free to ask. If you have issues you want us to look at or solutions or anything, let us know so we can get to work on it for you.
Okay, Bucky.
Jerry and Anthony, thank you both for having me here tonight. It was great to meet you, Anthony. Be here to support your campaign and making a change for the right that has to be changed. When you talk about the truth, tell the truth. You don't ever have to worry about a lie because you didn't tell a lie. Tell the truth. That's what it comes down to. You said that before. On my campaign, again, it's new. I'm just getting my boots on the ground. I will have a web page up soon. I will have fundraisers going on throughout Mercer County in the coming months. Again, it's throughout Mercer County. It's not just where we are here that I need to get the message out and get the votes and get the support. It's time for change in Mercer County. It's time for change. The sheriff's term is a 3-year term. I'm not here to be a lifer. I'm here to be here, do what I need to do, get in, get out, get what has to be done to make some changes in a positive way. Again, we're talking about the fentanyl situation and drugs, but to make the Sheriff's Department accountable for who they are, recognized for who they are, and be involved in our community throughout Mercer County and not just, like I said, again, in the city, so that people recognize and understand the Sheriff's Department is a useful tool in law enforcement that can be out there to help support the other communities and the residents throughout Mercer County.
Your full name again.
Brian Buck-Infuso. Everyone knows me as Bucky. You will see my signs. It will be Bucky for Sheriff. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Buck. All right. Anthony Hudson, right here. First of all, I want to thank you both for being on here. You know how I feel about you, Buck. You know how I feel about you. I'm the one who's honored today. We need changes, guys, and this guy's the guy to do it. So take a few minutes and tell it. Look into the camera. Look out there at everyone and tell them what you need them to know.
First off, I need you to know that when Bucky gets his campaign up and running and he gets his website going, take a minute to look at it. You got all the time in the world, all right? I know you're busy. Sometimes you got work, you got family, you got kids, but we can find time for things if we really want it. Take a look at his website. Listen to what the man has to say. I just met him in person for the first time today, and I'm a believer that he can bring that change to your county. I believe that he will make sure that these communities within this county are safe. And remember, when you guys are running away from something, these are the guys that are going to be running into it to protect you. As far as my campaign goes, I am honored, honestly, that you would support what it is that we're trying to do, just with the few conversations that we've had. That tells me that the message is clear. If I can walk up to a stranger and talk to him for a few minutes and gain his support, that tells me that our message is 100% clear. It's not just what you need to hear. My campaign website is anthonyhudson2k24.com. This is the worst part about being a politician or running for office. I need your support. I'm a blue-collar, hardworking American man that is ready to be the change. I need the hardworking, blue-collar American men and women to help us. We have a donation site, on our website, I'm not asking you to donate $500. 50 million people donate $10. We have $500 million. And every one of you know just as well as I do that we can spend every dollar as if it was two. $500 million, we can run a successful campaign, and we can take this country back. If you want merchandise, we have merchandise available on our website. We have hoodies, T-shirts, hats, bumper stickers, beer koozies. I know that y'all like to drink beer in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, you don't like to hand out bags at the convenience store, but you'll drink beer.
Can we have our bags back?
Yeah,
We'll get there.
We'll get there. That could be on the list. But if there's anything that I can tell you, for all of you who may not have voted in the last election or in the primary or the last presidential election because you were upset with the outcome or you didn't like the candidates, you don't like the policies that they're putting, you don't like the spending that they're doing overseas, do something different for once. Try something different. What's it going to hurt? What's 4 years going to hurt? We're surviving Biden. That's all we're doing is surviving. We're not advancing. If you want to advance and you want this country to be the powerhouse that it should be and have the respect that it demands, do something different. You and only you have the power to do that. And I challenge everyone listening to this show tonight. If you have a question, go to my website, AnthonyHudson2K24.com. Send me an email. Click the form to join, and that email will go directly to my office. And someone from my staff will reach out to you, if not myself, personally. We are Americans, and it's time for us to be proud again. Proud to be an American. It's time to be an independent country once again. It's time for Made in the USA to be about pride, not profit. And it's past time to put a blue collar in the White House. Jerry, Bucky, thanks for being on the show with me tonight. Thank you for having me. I want to come back as much as you'll have me.
Honey, yes.
And to everyone here in New Jersey and all across the country, I'm your friend. I'm just like you. And I will never wear a suit and tie when I talk to you. Ever.
I love that part the best.
Ever.
Yay! All right, everybody, thank you. Listen, please, as a favor to me, okay? You know, I get messages from all of my friends out there saying they loved my shows. You have to share this one. You have to share this one. And I'm also going to be interviewing Bucky again, hopefully April 4th, okay, on Tuesday, like 4:30, between 3:30 and 4:30, Buck. All right? Share these two shows for me more than any other show right now. That's how important this is. Okay? We need changes here in Mercer County. We need changes here in the United States. These are the two guys that can do it for us, all right? I love both of you.
Thank you,
Ruben,
Jerry.
take us out. Ta-da. Whoa. Got so excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.